Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles. Chapter 2769. Did I say I was going to leave? Zhang Qingyang, could it be the genius with the title of Qingyang gentleman? Wasn't that guy in seclusion? The bell rang. Many exceptional talents in seclusion have probably come out. Zhang Qingyang must have heard the news, but according to them, Zhang Qingyang seemed to have found Lin Ling, but Lin Ling didn't dare to meet him. That's normal. Lin Ling is of the strongest generation. He hasn't entered the world of exceptional talents yet. The ancient martial artists in the distance all began to discuss spiritedly. Exceptional talents, especially the current exceptional talents, all of them had entered the Great Azure Divine Dynasty. They were true experts who had left the three great academies. Among them, if they weren't strong enough, they could become exceptional talents in the past and return to the academy as elders, receiving respect. If their strength continued to increase crazily, surpassing all of the exceptional talents, then they could stay in the Great Azure Divine Dynasty and exchange pointers with the geniuses of the other 9 provinces. Among the countless geniuses of the 3 great academies, there were no more than 100 exceptional talents who had the qualifications and glory. At this moment, Lin Ling was silent. Moreover, he released his left hand. The last person couldn't help but laugh. He knew that Lin Ling didn't dare to kill him. He immediately strode forward as if he had just survived a disaster. As for Zhang Qingyang and the others in the sky, they coldly looked at Lin Ling. Zhang Qingyang didn't say anything. Instead, the woman beside him played with her nails and said, "Don't think that just because you let him go, we won't care about your mistakes. There are many things that you still have to explain to us. For example, where did my junior brothers from the Holy King's residence go?" Yes. They clearly weren't surprised that Lin Ling had let them go. Lin Ling raised his head and looked at the woman. He didn't say anything. "Speak." The woman looked pretty good, but her aura was extremely domineering. "Do I have to speak?" Lin Ling finally spoke. "Do you think you have other choices?" The woman spoke again. "Then I'll speak." Lin Ling nodded. He suddenly raised the sword in his hand and slashed down. This slash was aimed at the last person. At this moment, he felt a terrifying killing intent enveloping him. His pupils constricted. He thought that Lin Ling was afraid of his senior brother Zhang Qingyang, so he let him go. However, Lin Ling didn't seem to have any intention of letting him go. "No, don't. Senior brother Qingyang is here, how can you kill me?" He let out an anxious voice. "Because he's here, you'll die." Unfortunately, the merciless and coldness of the sword. Then, Lin Ling held his sword and walked along the ancient desert sand without even looking at Zhang Qingyang. The pupils of the ancient martial artists who were watching from afar trembled instantly. They had not expected that Lin Ling had no intention of letting that person off. As for Zhang Qingyang and the others in the sky, they were all stunned and speechless for a moment. Zhang Qingyang didn't say much, but this was the second time he spoke. "Did I say that I'm leaving? Let's go to the ancient city and fight." Unfortunately, Lin Ling still didn't look at him. His blue and white robe fluttered in the wind as he led the way to the ancient city. He was obviously planning to fight Zhang Qingyang. This decision was undoubtedly beyond everyone's expectations. Even Zhang Qingyang couldn't react. Soon, his face turned even colder. "What a piece of trash. Senior brother Qingyang, don't be angry. It's not worth it." Beside him, the woman named Carl immediately said. Zhang Qingyang nodded and stepped forward towards the ancient city. He wanted to see what Lin Ling was up to. At this moment, the ancient city was silent. Countless eyes were looking at the young man in the swirling dust. They were silent. As for Elder Mo, he looked at the approaching Lin Ling with a ferocious expression. Zhang Qingyang had arrived. He wanted those 2 dead. He knew that with Zhang Qingyang around, Lin Ling would never be able to kill him. "Mo Lao, do you think he can protect you?" As if he had guessed Mo Lao's thoughts, Lin Ling's voice came from afar. "It's no longer a question of protection. You're going to die in my territory. Mo Lao said word by word. Then let's wait and see who will die in the end. Lin Ling finally appeared in the ancient city. He raised his eyes and looked coldly at Mo Lao. At the same time, Zhang Qingyang and the others also arrived. Zhang Qingyang ignored Lin Ling and looked at Mo Lao. Mo Lao nodded and said, Zhang Qingyang, I owe you a favor. I'll repay it in the future. No need. You took good care of me during the battle of the Tianhua leaderboard. Today, I'll return the favor. I'll kill him for you. Zhang Qingyang nodded lightly. His words were filled with arrogance. In the past, he was also a member of the Tianhua leaderboard. At that time, he had to look up to Mo Lao. But now, this godlike judge also had a favor to ask of him. This meant that his strength had increased crazily. The bell has rung. I, Zhang Qingyang, have come out of seclusion. Everything is fated. The Son of Heaven's order, who else but me? Zhang Qingyang's faint voice sounded like the chant of a god. It seemed holy, but there was a hint of viciousness mixed within. Lin Ling stood in the ancient desert and frowned at this exceptional talent. He wasn't familiar with Zhang Qingyang, but he knew that this person seemed to be an exceptional talent of Five Ring City. He was extremely powerful. Although he had defeated many exceptional talents before, they were all exceptional talents of the past. Chapter 2770. Primordial Ominous Qi. Zhang Qingyang muttered to himself. His brows furrowed from time to time, and then relaxed from time to time. He seemed to have figured something out, but he seemed to be conflicted. However, his words made Lin Ling's eyes turn even colder. Before he could speak, Zhang Qingyang continued, You don't understand. You'll never understand what the Qingzhou Divine Bell is, and you'll never understand where the bell chimes come from. Those who know all of this have the qualifications to become the Son of Heaven. His words were vague, filled with disdain for Lin Ling. Lin Ling smiled. He was the one who had rung the Qingzhou Divine Bell, and this guy actually said he didn't understand? When it came to the Son of Heaven's fate, how could Zhang Qingyang compare to him? Enough with the nonsense. You only need to ask if you were the one who killed my martial god battalion. Lin Ling unsheathed his sword and began to challenge Zhang Qingyang. Laugh all you want. How can a frog at the bottom of a well know what I'm looking at? Perhaps because of your laughter, you'll only be like this for your entire life. You don't have the qualifications to touch the Son of Heaven's fate. Now, I understand a little. I, Zhang Qingyang, have come out of seclusion for so long, but I've never had a famous battle. Now, Huan Yu has arranged this battle for me. Although it buries my identity a little, killing the strongest generation will still allow me to obtain more Son of Heaven's fate. Zhang Qingyang didn't look at Lin Ling from beginning to end. He was still staring at the illusory divine bell in the sky. He really wanted those divine runes. Because he guessed that if he could obtain a strand, he would be the Son of Heaven's fate. This time, Lin Ling finally drew his sword. It's time for your nagging to end. He slashed out. 365 swords pierced through the sky. They didn't slash at Zhang Qingyang, but at the woman beside him called Carl. He didn't believe that Zhang Qingyang could ignore him for long. How dare you? Zhang Qingyang's expression changed, and he was completely furious. He was comprehending the Son of Heaven's fate, but Lin Ling had interrupted him. He was really a piece of rat shit that ruined a nest of soup. Whoosh! With a wave of his sleeve, the green energy of the boundary essence rushed out like a gale. All of the swords were blown away, but there was one sword that escaped. This sword was as elegant as the wind, moving along with the wind. It cut open the horizon, and a stream of scarlet blood sprinkled down. As for the woman named Kale, there was a sword mark on her white neck. Moreover, she was staring at Lin Ling. She didn't expect that senior brother Qingyang would be able to tell that Lin Ling had really killed her. I remember your voice very clearly. It was so ugly. At the same time, Lin Ling sneered. In the past, this woman had bullied the soldiers of the Martial Gods Battalion outside the Marshals Battalion. Although Lin Ling hadn't seen it, he had heard those voices. Moreover, he knew how the soldiers had endured the humiliation and gritted their teeth to block that sound wave attack. Senior brother. The woman called Kale uttered the last words of her life as she floated down to the ground. Of course, she was caught by Zhang Qingyang halfway down. At this moment, Zhang Qingyang's entire body was emanating an ominous aura that caused others to tremble in fear. Kale! He cried out in pain. Kale was a woman he'd met in Heavenly Saint Academy. At that time, he'd been very weak, but she'd really cared for him. She believed that he would become a great figure sooner or later. In the end, he'd really soared into the sky. So, he'd always kept Kale by his side and would satisfy any of her requests. Because he felt that he owed Kale a favor. But now, Kale was dead. It's very painful, isn't it? But when you killed the members of my Martial Gods Battalion, did you think about their pain? They had no enmity with you, yet you killed them because of a knot in your heart that was difficult to untie. Could it be that you're human, and the soldiers of the Martial Gods Battalion aren't? Moreover, this woman's death is related to you. If you hadn't allowed her to do as she pleased, how could she have died? I can see that she was an innocent and naive young woman in the past, but after you grew strong, you satisfied her with everything, causing her to be unable to distinguish right from wrong. In the end, she was implicated by you and died. Retribution. You sowed the seeds, and today is the day you reap the consequences. Lin Ling raised his head and looked fearlessly at Zhang Qingyang. You! Zhang Qingyang's eyes turned pitch black, and a terrifying ferocious qi erupted from his body. A sandstorm rose into the sky within a radius of 10,000 miles around the ancient city. What a dense ferocious qi! Is this the ancient ferocious qi? In the barren desert, the expressions of the ancient martial artists changed drastically, and they were shocked by Lin Ling's actions. Lin Ling had completely infuriated Zhang Qingyang. I can't find any reason to spare your life. Yes. Zhang Qingyang stood up and allowed Kale's corpse to fall to the ground. His long hair and green robe were dancing wildly at this moment. Behind him, the ferocious qi rolled like waves, and an ancient god with 3 heads and 6 arms appeared. It was actually an ancient ferocious god. His cultivation was at the 9th stage of the true god realm, but his innate divine body was the 3rd grade great ferocious body. Moreover, he stood there quietly, and his aura rose steadily. His true god martial soul seemed to have changed again, and the 2nd seal had been unlocked. This guy is filled with hatred and sorrow because of Kale's death. Chapter 2771. 7 Realms Speed. At this moment, Zhang Qingyang was infuriated. He no longer had the calm demeanor he had before. Lin Ling's words had angered him even more than killing Ka. You're dead. Absolutely dead. The surging ominous aura became even more terrifying. It was as if countless fierce gods had shot out and swallowed everyone in the ancient city. Everyone could feel that Zhang Qingyang was thoroughly enraged, and Lin Ling was the fuse that ignited his anger. Lin Ling, you deserve it. Mo Lao couldn't help but roar. He was extremely excited. As for the people following Zhang Qingyang, their eyes were red as they said coldly, this Lin Ling doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Not only did he interrupt senior brother Qin Yang's comprehension of the Son of Heaven's fate, he even killed Ka. With senior brother Qin Yang's strength, I'm afraid he can kill him with half a hand. Yeah, senior brother Qin Yang can kill a 10th stage true god or even a peak true god. I think Lin Ling will be killed within 10 moves. 10 moves? 3 moves are enough because senior brother Qin Yang's true god martial spirit has already reached the 2nd seal stage. In their eyes, Lin Ling was already at the end of his rope. A sword appeared in Zhang Qin Yang's hand. It was condensed from ominous aura, and the body of the sword occasionally emitted ghostly images. He took a step forward and slowly walked towards Lin Ling. He wanted to crush Lin Ling's everything. He wanted to make Lin Ling feel fear, regret, and even kneel down and beg for mercy. Following his footsteps, a ghostly image appeared behind him. It was actually a three-headed, six-armed, ferocious god with shining fangs. I won't torture you to death. I will let you die cleanly because after killing you, the heavens will belong to me. Without hiding his strength, Zhang Qingyang's terrifying sword ruthlessly slashed out. Rumble. The barren desert immediately began to wail like ghosts and howl like wolves. The entire desert turned pitch black. Ancient ominous sword. Mo Lao's expression changed drastically. The ancient ferocious sword was condensed from the ancient ferocious qi. This ferocious qi had killed countless people, and all of them were villains. In the end, it condensed into this terrifying ferocious qi. The sword slashed out with ferocious power. Even if a ghost god was here, it would probably be intimidated into pieces by the ferocious aura. The power of this sword is too strong. I'm afraid that even a 100% sword heart wouldn't be able to block it. Lin Ling only has a 70% sword heart. Even with the evil flame transformation, it seems like he won't be able to block it. Make your move. In the distant desert, Lord Eighth and the others let out anxious cries. They sensed how terrifying that sword strike was. However, just as they moved, Lin Ling's voice floated out, ancient ferocious sword? If it was another person here, they might not have been able to dodge the ancient ferocious sword, because speed of 7 realms wasn't something everyone could achieve. Rumble. The second sword slashed through the air again. This continued for a total of 3 swords. Zhang Qingyang finally sensed that something was wrong. The ferocious aura on his body also became denser. Lin Ling, come and fight. What kind of martial artist are you if you cower? You'd better strip yourself of the title of the strongest of this generation. Everyone could sense that Zhang Qingyang's humiliation had turned into anger. Who was Zhang Qingyang? He was an exceptional talent, one of the 100 exceptional talents in 5 Ring City. Meanwhile, Lin Ling was only the strongest of this generation. Whether it was cultivation time or seniority, Lin Ling couldn't compare to Zhang Qingyang. Yet now, this exceptional talent couldn't do anything to Lin Ling. How could he put down his face like this? Zhang Qingyang doesn't seem to be able to defeat Lin Ling. It's only been a year, yet Lin Ling's strength has increased so much. He doesn't fear exceptional talents. He truly is a monster of Qing province. It seems like it's a tie. Compared to Zhang Qingyang's anger, everyone else was alarmed. This was because they had never believed that Lin Ling could win. A first generation simply couldn't win against an exceptional talent. However, reality proved that even an exceptional talent couldn't win against a first generation. Speed of 7 realms. Where did Lin Ling go in this past year? In the barren desert, Red Jade Tiger's voice was also full of shock. His suspended heart finally relaxed. This was because with speed of 7 realms, Lin Ling was undefeatable. Bastard. Mo Lao was fuming with anger. Even though Lin Ling relied on his speed to avoid the battle, no one would laugh at him. Instead, they were laughing at Zhang Qingyang. This was because Zhang Qingyang's seniority was higher. If you have the skill, then fight Zhang Qingyang to the death. Mo Lao roared. He seemed to have lost his mind from anger. However, at this time, Lin Ling's steps stopped. He floated in the sky. Zhang Qingyang, don't think that just because you're an exceptional talent, the Son of Heaven's fate is related to you. Moreover, don't think that everyone else is an ant in your eyes. In reality, you're nothing more than this. Right now, you want me to receive your sword, so I'll receive it. When this voice drifted out, everyone in the ancient city was stunned. Lin Ling gave up on his fastest speed and actually chose to meet Zhang Qingyang head-on. Lin Ling, this. Chapter 2772. The fusion of the three Dantians. This is a true hero. Lin Ling, I admire you. Let's have a taste of my ancient ferocious sword. Zhang Qingyang was originally angry, but now he couldn't help but laugh wildly. Lin Ling, you're too complacent. Saber Mountain Inferno, Fire Sea Purgatory, Absolute Cold Ice Purgatory, Demonic Lightning Purgatory, Demonic Soul Purgatory, Avicii Absolute Hell. Ferocious chi filled the air and began to change. The red ones were Saber Mountain Inferno and Fire Sea Purgatory. The blue ones were Absolute Cold Ice Purgatory and Demonic Lightning Purgatory. The purple ones were Demonic Lightning Purgatory and Demonic Lightning Purgatory. It was said that when the ferocious chi appeared, all the evildoers in the world would be suppressed by the ferocious chi. Although the evildoers were evil, the ferocious chi was even more ferocious. Crackle. The ferocious chi condensed into a giant sword. When the sword appeared, the ancient city was completely destroyed. The barren desert also turned into a purgatory. The ferocious chi soared to the sky. That terrifying sword, even the peak true immortal realm experts did not dare to easily receive it. Lin Ling, retreat. Retreat. In a distant place, Lord 8 and the others quickly flew towards the ancient city. They did not expect Zhang Qingyang's true immortal martial spirit to increase his strength so much after the second seal. They were afraid that he would have few opponents in the true immortal realm. How terrifying! Retreat. The people in the ancient city had already run far away. They looked at the forbidden land and their mouths trembled. Mo Lao used a secret technique to block the ferocious chi. At this moment, he let out a loud laugh. Lin Ling, crazy, crazy. Come and see, now you regret it. Lin Ling, you can't fly even if you have wings. You will never understand the Qingzhou divine bell and the Son of Heaven's mandate. Retreat. Zhang Qingyang's eyes became pitch black. He looked like a demon and a god. His sword slashed out crazily. At this moment, Lin Ling was floating in the sky with a calm face. The reason why he wanted to receive the sword was to see how powerful the ferocious chi was. He also wanted to see how strong he was under his full strength. Therefore, he moved. Terrifying world essence erupted from his body. The flame god's heart jumped, red scales appeared. Clearly, he had also used the true god martial spirit. Moreover, he had unlocked the first seal. This scene did not surprise Mo Lao and the rest. This was Lin Ling's strongest state on the heaven-surpassing rankings. However, Lin Ling's transformation did not stop. The realm-swallowing beast had appeared. The divine beasts and demon kings were roaring. A huge flame coffin appeared in Lin Ling's hand. Compared to last time, the time it took to form the flame coffin was much shorter. At this moment, the two Dantians were madly merging. One was at the 4th stage of the true God realm, and the other was at the 6th stage of the true God realm. In an instant, Jia Yuan had reached the 10th stage of the true God realm. Coupled with the evil flame transformation, with this, his realm essence power reached peak true God realm. This. Zhang Qingyang was stunned. He really could not understand why Lin Ling's body was hiding so much realm essence. However, it wasn't over yet. The third Dantian was fused for the first time. The third Dantian was currently at the first level of true God realm, but it was a lightning Dantian. Pitter-patter. The flame coffin began to change. Within the flames, thunder rumbled. The new flame coffin was even more terrifying. Countless eyes looked at Lin Ling in the sky, all of them shuddering. Lin Ling could still be so strong. At this moment, Lin Ling was moving forward with the flame coffin. The aura on his body was turbulent, overbearing and majestic. Flame coffin. Finally, a cold voice rang out in the desert. In the distance, Lord 8 and the rest stopped running, their faces frozen. Now, it seemed like they did not need to help Lin Ling. This was because Lin Ling's realm essence gave them the feeling that it had exceeded the peak true God realm. Rumble. The terrifying flame coffin mixed with the flame thunder chi, colliding with the ancient sword in front of it. The two destructive forces exploded, the entire desert seemed to have collapsed, causing even more experts to rush over from afar, their faces filled with shock. Rumble. The two colorful forces continued to collide, and in the end, the flame coffin was obviously stronger. This was because the flame coffin had suppressed too much power, like an immortal or a saint, destroying everything. The ominous aura was burned by thunder and flames. The originally dark sky was now illuminated. Boom! In the end, the ancient sword disappeared, but the flame coffin still floated in the sky, not exploding. Without exploding, the ancient sword was destroyed. It was hard to imagine how terrifying the forbidden power would be after the flame coffin exploded. In the sky, Zhang Qingyang's mouth leaked blood, looking in front of him in disbelief. There, Lin Ling walked over step by step, like a god of fire, like a god of death, and even more like a god of war. Your sword is only so. A voice floated out from Lin Ling's mouth, causing Zhang Qingyang's body to tremble. He thought that Lin Ling was only arrogant because of his speed, so he wanted to avoid a head-on clash with Lin Ling. But who would have thought that after a head-on clash, he would realize how terrifying Lin Ling's strength was. Don't think that you're amazing just because you're an exceptional talent. In reality, an exceptional talent doesn't mean anything. Lin Ling said again. His words were like a crisp slap that landed on Zhang Qingyang's face. Zhang Qingyang was at a loss. In the past, he had gone to the martial god barracks to find Lin Ling, but Lin Ling was not there. He thought that Lin Ling was afraid of him, but now he deeply understood that Lin Ling did not have to be afraid of him. One last thing. Lin Ling's voice floated out like the wind, and no one heard the last sentence except for Zhang Qingyang. I was the one who rang the Qingzhou divine bell. That sentence left Zhang Qingyang dumbfounded. One had to know that he was extremely respectful of the Qingzhou divine bell, even with a hint of worship. He wanted to obtain the divine bell's approval and obtain the Son of Heaven's mandate, but he believed that Lin Ling and other outsiders did not know these noble secrets, and could not get a share of the Son of Heaven's mandate. However, the Qingzhou divine bell was rung by Lin Ling. Then, who was more familiar with the secrets of the Son of Heaven's mandate? Rumble. Without waiting for him to speak, the flaming coffin in the sky bloomed like a flower of flames. The domineering power of flames and lightning seemed to want to destroy the primal chaos of the universe. Under that unparalleled power, Zhang Qingyang was completely destroyed. He had been in seclusion for many years, and he originally wanted to borrow the Son of Heaven's mandate to shake Qingzhou. Unfortunately, he had been defeated in the first battle. Moreover, he had lost to the most powerful of his generation. Rumble. Ear-splitting sounds continuously rang out, and it was as if the desert had been flipped upside down. The people in the distance were all stupefied. They naturally knew that this power belonged to Lin Ling. This meant that after a year, Lin Ling had stepped into the ranks of exceptional talents. There were only 100 exceptional talents, which meant that they were rare and difficult, but for Lin Ling, it was as simple as drinking water. Walala. The roiling flames gradually dispersed, and a figure walked out from within. He looked to the other side, and that was Mo Lao. Who else is there to protect you? Lin Ling's voice was very calm, but when it landed in Mo Lao's ears, it was as ear-piercing as a blizzard. A year ago, Lin Ling was only an ant to him on the heavenly surpassing rankings. If not for his cultivation being crippled by an expert, he, Mo Lao, could have easily killed Lin Ling. Chapter 2773. The Golden Grand Era Dragon. However, he wasn't afraid of Lin Ling because he was confident that he could fully recover his cultivation before Lin Ling became stronger. However, Lin Ling only used 1 year to come knocking on his door. It was as if he was telling him that 10,000 years was too long to fight for the tide. There was no need to wait 10,000 years to kill him. I'm from the Imperial Censor Dragon Court. Mo Lao's voice was laced with nervousness. The people in the distance saw this scene and found it hard to believe. A divine adjudicator was actually afraid of a rising star. You should know that I wanted to kill you last time because I, Lin Ling, treat people the same way they treat me. During the assessment, you targeted me time and time again. Do you really think I'm a pushover? Lin Ling said coldly, making it hard for Mo Lao to refute. However, Lin Ling asked again, in fact, I'm very curious. Why did you target me? Was it the Thunder Sound Manor's idea? Thunder Sound Manor's mother is one of the reasons. There's also the Azure Dragon Manor, but the biggest reason is that I didn't like you. Mo Lao said slowly. You didn't like me, so you targeted me, harmed me, and tried to kill me. Hee, you must be regretting it now. Lin Ling laughed. This divine adjudicator really thought he was something. If it was in the past, I would never regret it. But now, I'm a little regretful. You, Lin Ling, are a madman. As long as I provoke you, I'll risk my life. Mo Lao said his evaluation of Lin Ling, but he quickly shook his head. Even so, you still can't kill me. He seemed to have sensed something. Sure enough, after he spoke, a dazzling golden light shot over from afar, and a dragon's roar could be heard. In fact, you'll die here. Sensing the majestic aura, Mo Lao laughed, but his laughter was cold. He was from the Imperial Censor Dragon Court. It would be difficult for Lin Ling to kill him. Great Golden Era Dragon. Following his voice, the golden light in the distance became even more dazzling, shooting towards Lin Ling with the speed of 10 realms. Everyone could vaguely see that it was an enormous golden dragon, that sacred and immortal aura telling everyone that this was an existence that surpassed the true deity realm. Moreover, the power of the universe gushed out from the dragon's body, turning the desert into a land of gold. That might not be the case. Lin Ling naturally sensed the surging aura in the distance, but he muttered to himself. Roar. At the same time, the roar of a divine tiger came from the east. The sound caused the sand in the desert to fly up into the sky, as if a bomb had been thrown into the desert. A charging tiger transformed into a fist and collided with the golden Great Era Dragon. Boom 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 boom. A powerful force erupted and a huge circular shockwave appeared in the desert, causing the sand to tumble like waves in all directions. Just as Lin Ling said, Mo Lao may not be a good person, but he was good to his disciples. No one was perfect, but no one was evil. Even Lin Ling did not dare to admit that he was a good person. The number of lives that had died in his hands was innumerable. However, it was undeniable that Mo Lao and Lin Ling were the same. They both had things that they needed to protect. A stream of blood dripped down from the sky. Mo Lao died standing in the sky. However, when he died, he was extremely peaceful. Master. In the distance, a large number of cries could be heard. As for the surrounding ancient martial artists, their faces were extremely solemn. The imperial censor of the Dragon Court, the god's inquisitor of the Great Qing dynasty, was forced to death by Lin Ling. However, their thoughts were the same as Lin Ling's. Revenge was a matter of life and death. There was nothing to sympathize with. They could only say that Mo Lao was not as good as Lin Ling. Swoosh. Lin Ling waved his right hand and cut off Mo Lao's head. Then, he kept the head and turned to leave. Because I promised my soldiers, I have to bring his head back. Lin Ling's voice floated out at the same time. He took a step and walked into the distance. As for the huge golden Great Era Dragon, he did not attack at this moment. He transformed into a middle-aged man in a golden robe. He looked deeply at Lin Ling, then turned and left. Chapter 2774. Accepted. After that, there was nothing else for him to do. He saw that Lin Ling had several experts by his side. It would be difficult for him to touch Lin Ling. Moreover, Lin Ling was a member of the imperial court. His identity was a little sensitive and he was not someone he could touch easily. After the experts left, the desert gradually returned to its peaceful state. Everyone looked at the desert after the catastrophe and remained silent for a long time. This Lin Ling, he's grown up. The ancient martial artists also left one after another. They remembered Lin Ling's name in their hearts. As for the Holy King, he was the last to leave the desert. His heart was pounding. After witnessing Lin Ling's tyrannical actions, he had already regarded Lin Ling as the person he could not afford to offend. After returning, he would definitely remind the Holy King's residents that whoever dared to offend Lin Ling or even mention the name Lin Ling would be killed without mercy. Lin Ling returned to the martial god's barracks very quickly. When Mo Lao's head was thrown to the ground, the entire martial god's barracks was in high spirits. They were extremely agitated. In this ruthless world, even if you did not offend others, others would still invade. Hence, the only way to stop the killing was to use strong means to defend one's territory and dignity, and to instill fear in the enemy. One day later, the news of Lin Ling killing Mo Lao spread like a snowball throughout Qingzhou. Even many people in Five Ring City received the news. They would remember the name Lin Ling. As for the Thunder Manor, Azure Dragon Manor, and other major forces, they somewhat understood Lin Ling's intention. This was also a show of strength to them. Of course, the ones who feared Lin Ling the most were undoubtedly the Tating Commandery and Solitude Commandery. At this moment, the people of these two commanderies were in a state of panic. After Lin Ling dealt with the martial god battalion, he returned to the rainforest city. However, he was speechless when he saw Elder Xia Ren. The elder still wanted to bring Lin Ling back to the Resplendent Academy, but Lin Ling ignored him. In the following days, Lin Ling, Yu, and the others all returned to peace. Lin Ling cultivated every day. Occasionally, he would bring Yu and the others back to the rainforest sacred land. He even brought them to the flame shards. Lin Ling had a sect there, so he planned to nurture the evil flame sect into a secret force. As long as the people of the rainforest sacred land had the boundary seed, they would be able to reach the martial god realm. Lin Ling had also arranged for them to bitterly cultivate in the evil flame school. Even though Lin Ling was quite famous in Qingzhou, he knew that he was at an intermediate stage. There were many people stronger than him, but there were also many people weaker than him. Therefore, he couldn't be weaker. He could only be stronger. Otherwise, those who wanted to kill him would definitely make a move. However, Lin Ling was currently in existence with few opponents in the true god realm. With the fusion of 3 dantians, 2 divine bodies, the Ashura sword formation, and the evil flame transformation, Lin Ling could be considered an ambitious and ruthless person. However, if he wanted to reach the next level, Lin Ling realized that he needed a lot more resources. Even though the business of the rainforest city was getting bigger and bigger, it obviously couldn't satisfy him. This was especially true for his primal chaos divine formula. Right now, his essence, qi, and spirit cultivation were in a state of balance. This was not good. After all, among these 3 great domains, one of them had to be stronger. Only then could more dantians be born. Currently, Lin Ling had 3 dantians. He had the capital to fight above his level. What if he had 4 or 5? In the past, my soul force had always been the strongest. Now, it's only slightly stronger than the other 2 domains. However, my soul force has greatly improved. I can refine many barriers and pills now. Lin Ling muttered to himself. The ghost genius Li Xiaoyao had grasped a large number of ancient techniques. Among them, the complicated barriers and dantian techniques were at the top of the 9 prefectures. However, in order to grasp these ancient techniques, the amount of soul power required was enormous. In the past, Lin Ling's soul force didn't reach the standard. Now, it barely reached the standard. So much so that some of the pill recipes and profound barriers that had been buried in his memories were becoming clearer and clearer at this moment. Of course, no matter what kind of pill recipe or barrier it was, it still required materials. And all of these were what Lin Ling lacked the most. If I had water false ice, ghost dragon wings, and other treasures, I could refine the primeval clear pill. It would allow Yu and the others to step into a stronger divine body. If I could refine the Taiping Dragon Strength secret pill, my dragon force would increase greatly. My godly devil body would definitely reach a higher level. Lin Ling shook his head. He felt extremely regretful. Lin Ling, Senior Sunset Glory is looking for you. At this moment, Yu walked in and looked at Lin Ling with a smile. Senior Sunset Glory? Lin Ling stood up immediately and his eyes flickered. If he remembered correctly, Li Xiao Yao had left a large sum of money in the Fu Hang estate. If he could get the money, his strength would definitely increase greatly. Should he go and get it now? After pondering for a while, Lin Ling shook his head. It was not the time to reveal his identity. After all, the heavenly court was spread all over the 9 prefectures. It was much more powerful than many forces in the Green Prefecture. Lin Ling couldn't confront the heavenly court head-on. Soon, the two of them arrived at the main hall. Chapter 2777. It was even more amazing than pill recipes. Only Luo Riyao and Senior Gong Yang were familiar with Lin Ling, so they believed in Lin Ling. They believed that Lin Ling might really have a way. You'd better take out the pill formula first. Vice Dean Gong shook his head. He believed in Lin Ling nonsense. Do you know how much I paid for this pill formula? How can this pill formula be easily shown to others? Old Gong, we have known each other for 10,000 years, so I let you see this pill formula. Don't push your luck. The Shoan World King immediately reprimanded. What a joke. A junior was able to decipher the pill recipe. If this wasn't messing around, then what was? Shoan, you. Vice School Head Gong didn't expect that the other party wouldn't give him any face. You what? However, the Shoan Realm King reprimanded him again. You're only relying on the Resplendent Academy to read the books of the universe. Otherwise, do you think you have the qualifications to speak to me? In my eyes, you're nothing but a fart. Enough. Vice Academy Master Gong was so angry that his chest heaved. Shoan, let him take a look. Anyway, the pill formula can't be deciphered, so it's useless for you to keep it. Moreover, there's no need to affect our friendship because of a pill formula. You should know that we have an exchange once every 1,000 years. At this moment, Master Ban spoke up. Although he didn't think that Lin Ling would be able to break it, he didn't want Vice Principal Gong and the Shoan Boundary King to fall out. For the sake of Master Ban, I won't bicker with you. Show this pill recipe to your people. Shoan Realm King coldly snorted and finally agreed. I'm only doing this for Master Ban's sake. Otherwise, would have left already. Vice Principal Gong added. Seeing the two seniors oppose each other with equal harshness, those exceptional talents were all speechless. Then, they began to blame Lin Ling, because all of this was brought about by Lin Ling. Most importantly, Lin Ling was not tactful at all. Vice Principal Gong had offended the Shoan Barrier King for his sake, but he did not say a word. They couldn't help but look at Lin Ling, including Vice Dean Gong. He smiled and said, Lin Ling, my apologies, we've made a fool of ourselves in front of you. To him, Lin Ling was a genius of the Resplendent Academy. He had been thinking of ways to recruit Lin Ling, so how could he offend Lin Ling for the sake of the Shoan Boundary King? However, as soon as he finished speaking, everyone was even more astonished. Vice Principal Gong actually apologized to Lin Ling? However, Lin Ling waved his hand and looked at the Shoan Boundary King. The latter looked indifferent, but with his status, he did have the right to do so. It's just a lousy pill formula. You're the only one who treats it as a treasure. You're truly a frog at the bottom of a well. Lin Ling finally opened his mouth. His tone was somewhat impolite. The materials I listed earlier are indeed unable to refine the 5 elements nascent soul sword pill. Look, I told you he was spouting nonsense. Master Ban, you've all been deceived by him. Hearing those words, the Shoan Boundary King immediately smiled. As for Master Ban, his brows were tightly furrowed. According to his calculations, the materials Lin Ling listed earlier should be all the materials recorded in the pill formula. That's because there are still 3 missing. They are the Dew Orchid, Divine Mist Orchid, and Blood Orchid. 3 orchids to form a sword. That is the true foundation of the nascent soul sword pill. Lin Ling said to the Shoan Boundary King with a smile that was not a smile. At that moment, the garden became even more silent. Master Ban pondered for a moment. Then, his expression changed greatly. 3 orchids to form a sword, does the legendary thing really exist? Furthermore, why is there no record of these 3 materials in the pill formula? His voice became obviously anxious. It's very simple. It's because the owner of the pill formula also failed to refine the 5 elements nascent soul sword pill. Otherwise, do you think you would have obtained the pill formula? Lin Ling looked at Master Ban with a smile and said, this isn't the first time you've entered a world spirit technique. You should know that whether it's a world spirit technique or a pill formula, as long as it's successfully refined, it won't be easily leaked. Shoan Boundary King, you've obviously been deceived. You must have bought the pill formula from somewhere, right? The Shoan Boundary King's face turned green and red because he had indeed bought the pill formula. Can it really be successful? Master Ban couldn't help but exclaim. He trusted Lin Ling more and more. My time is precious. I don't have time to lie to you. Lin Ling shook his head. Chi. Everyone gasped and looked at Master Ban. They wanted to see if this senior would admit to Lin Ling's words. He's telling the truth. Master Ban took a deep breath and finally said, stressing each and every word. This. Everyone was completely speechless. Lin Ling was actually more amazing than the pill formula. One had to understand that exceptional talents were geniuses who had left Qing province and reached the end of the universe. Looks like I'm still very far away from him. Meng Lu thought to himself as he clenched his fists, feeling even more indignant. Without a doubt, numerous gazes were focused on Lin Ling. The figure in blue and white robes gave them a mysterious feeling that they could not see through him. All right, I've summoned you all here because of the invitation of the 3rd prince, the great world deity king. The child looked at the crowd and said, everyone should know that the Qingzhou divine bell has rung. The Qing emperor is about to step down. We have been waiting for this moment for tens of thousands of years. Once these words were spoken, everyone's emotions were stirred up. It's actually the 3rd prince's invitation. Luo Riyao secretly said, which made Lin Ling ask curiously, who is the 3rd prince? The Qing emperor's son. Luo Riyao explained, Lin Ling, you should have seen it. This invitation is actually a gathering of the imperial court's forces, and the person behind the imperial court is the 3rd prince. He is a person of great talent and bold vision, standing at the peak of Qing province. His name is also illustrious in Zhouzhou. Hearing this, Lin Ling's pupils constricted. Those who could stand firm in Zhouzhou, none of them were weak. This was something that Li Xiaoyao was most clear about in the past. He could not help but become curious about the 3rd prince. Also, what was the relationship between Grandma Wen Dao and the 3rd prince? Then why was the imperial court established? According to what I know, the Qing emperor's position is not passed down to the bloodline. As long as one obtains the Son of Heaven's decree, they can be titled as the Qing emperor. Therefore, there seems to be no need for the imperial court to exist. Lin Ling asked in a low voice. The imperial court, the army of Tsang Yan, the left minister's residence, and the imperial court. Their goal is to provoke the experts of Qing province and find someone with the Son of Heaven's decree. In the future, if the Son of Heaven becomes the Qing emperor, then their forces will rise with the tide, and they will be able to last for thousands of years. So that's how it is. Lin Ling secretly nodded. Lin Ling, you also have a high chance of obtaining the Son of Heaven's decree. In the end, you will unify Qing province and become the Qing emperor. Luo Riyao looked at Lin Ling with a burning gaze. Vice Principal Gong was the same. They were all very knowledgeable people, but ever since they met Lin Ling, they realized that anything impossible in front of Lin Ling would become possible. Lin Ling was a person that even they could not see through. This kind of thing, leave it to fate. However, Lin Ling waved his hand. His goal was not only to become the Qing emperor, because he knew that there were many people in Zhozhou who were stronger than the Qing emperor. The Qing emperor could only be the ruler of Qing province. For example, his biggest enemy, Tian Liuli, was definitely an existence that surpassed the Qing emperor. In the past, Tian Liuli had given birth to 4 Dantians. After such a long time, who knew if she would give birth to another Dantian? If she had 5 Dantians, and each Dantian was powerful, then not many people would be her opponent. Of course, Lin Ling was also sure that Tian Liuli had no hope of giving birth to 7 Dantians. In the whole world, only he, Lin Ling, could do it. Alright, let's go see the third prince. After chatting for a while, the children and Mr. Chen led the way out of the manor and into the depths of Five Ring City. This trip was to the Great Qing Dynasty, which was also the imperial city. The Great Qing Dynasty was the most sacred place in Qing province, and even the 10,000 worlds. The secrets of the universe hidden in the Great Qing Dynasty were countless. In Qing province, those who had the right to step into the imperial city were all top figures in Qing province, and they had to go out of Qing province. Therefore, to be able to go to the imperial city was also a recognition of one's strength. This was also the reason why Thunderclap Mother and the others did not dare to touch Lin Ling, because they knew that the current Lin Ling was not to be underestimated. Along the way, those first-generation talents seemed to be a little excited. Clearly, they could not enter the imperial city every time. Lin Ling, the third prince has high hopes for you. The child called Tong Man slowed down his pace and walked with Lin Ling, smiling slightly. Thank you. But in the imperial court, other than the third prince, there should be some pillars, right? Lin Ling said with a smile that was not a smile. The pillars he was talking about were obviously Grandma Wen Dao. Tong Man immediately smiled. You will know when the time comes. I can only say that the imperial court is more powerful than you think. Lin Ling agreed with this point, because what he had seen so far was only the tip of the iceberg, but it was already so powerful. If the imperial court sent out all its experts, it would definitely be terrifying. Moreover, although Lin Ling was an first-generation talent, there were still the 9 heavens of Qing province above him. These were also strong opponents. And all of this was hard to accept. After all, if exceptional talents were placed in the 3 great academies, every single one of them would be existences that surpassed elders. It could only be said that Five Ring City's foundation was too deep. Mr. Chen, Tong, and the others. Seeing this, everyone bowed slightly. The third prince, one of the people behind the scenes of the imperial court. His strength was enough to cover the sky in Green Province. Even Lin Ling was curious. His soul force quietly spread out, wanting to see through the third prince's true body. However, the curtain around the third prince was extremely mysterious. It actually blocked his soul force from spreading. At this time, a large number of figures walked out from within the imperial city. They were all extremely powerful individuals. Their expressions were cold, and their movements carried a merciless wind. This was one of the 4 giants of Green Province, the Blue Flame Army. It was unknown who was the leader of this group, but there were many exceptional talents mixed in. Moreover, today seemed to be the day the 4 giants of Green Province gathered. Because, in the distance, another group of people arrived. They were people from Imperial Censor Dragon Court. They all had the aura of a dragon on their bodies. They were wise and powerful. Among them, Azure Dragon Manor's Manor Lord was also there. Of course, in front of Imperial Censor Dragon Court, he could only be a follower. At this time, the exceptional talents beside Lin Ling were even more shocked. This was a gathering of Green Province's experts. At this time, another group of people arrived. They were from the Left Minister's manor. This group of people were dressed like scholars, but there was a divine aura on their bodies. What powerful talents! Lin Ling stared at these people. He discovered that they all had divine physiques. Many of them even surpassed first-grade divine physiques. Were these the most powerful existences in Green Province? Third Prince, Great World Deity King, don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you are favored by my father. Your people killed my divine judgment. Could it be that you don't want an explanation? While everyone was shocked, suddenly, a cold shout rang out. It was the roar of a dragon. It was as if the world was submitting to its will. A finger crossed the sky. With speed exceeding 10 realms, it shot towards the Imperial Court's geniuses. That aura was so powerful that it made all of the exceptional talents' expressions change. So powerful. However, the master of the proud child was not a pushover. The curtain of the proud child fluttered open, and a fair arm stretched out. It grew bigger with the wind, and actually turned into a huge stone arm of an ancient ape. It collided with the finger. Hong Long Long. Chapter 2780. One move. However, the Azure Emperor Imperial Jade Seal has a spirit. Only true Immortal Realm martial artists can enter the Azure Emperor Imperial Jade Seal. If an expert above the true Immortal Realm tries to take the seal, the Azure Emperor Imperial Jade Seal will fly away and disappear in Azure Province. Therefore, only true Immortal Realm martial artists can go and take the Azure Emperor Imperial Jade Seal. Whoever obtains the Azure Emperor Imperial Jade Seal, the Emperor's mandate will be activated. On the Left Minister's side, a young man looked at the book in his hand and said. This seemed to be the rule of Azure Province. The Azure Province divine bell rang, which meant that the Azure Emperor had fallen. However, the Emperor's mandate could only be activated after the Azure Emperor Imperial Jade Seal was taken out. This was a rule that was different from the other dynasties. This rule had been around for countless years. Even Lin Ling was secretly shocked. However, the Great Azure Divine Dynasty was a divine dynasty. Naturally, it was not something an ordinary dynasty could compare to. The rules were definitely different. This also meant that the future Azure Emperor might very well be anyone here. It might be the third prince, or the 99th prince, or even one of their first talents. First generation of the Imperial Court, if you can obtain the Azure Emperor Imperial Jade Seal, you can raise any conditions you want. On the Imperial Court side, the third prince quietly said. This time, all the first generation were shocked. They could raise any conditions? This was a heavenly reward. Finally, something that can make me interested. Lin Ling's lips curled up into a smile. Ever since he was invited, he had seen many experts in the Fifth Ring City. However, they were useless to him. Now, the real reward had appeared. After all, what he lacked the most were heavenly treasures. While the first generation was pleasantly surprised, the people of the Imperial Court strode forward. The other three magnates did the same. Along the way, other than the giant divine guards, they did not see anyone else. It seemed that the people of the Imperial Court also knew that today was a crucial moment. Thus, they did not casually go out. Finally, they arrived at a huge hall. Outside the hall, there were carvings of phoenixes and deers. It looked very sacred. However, after entering the hall, it was a vast expanse of whiteness. A huge black hole was extremely eye-catching in the vast expanse of whiteness. If you want to enter the Copper Sparrow Pavilion, you must be recognized by Wu Zhen's statue. An expert spoke. The four giants people were all looking at their own camp's exceptional talents. Not only was this a chance to seize the Green Emperor's Imperial Jade Seal, it was also a chance to test their strength. If any of the magnates were stronger, it would undoubtedly raise the morale of the people, and the influence of the magnates in the Qing province would also be stronger. Of course, there were 4 statues in each of the 4 corners of the palace. Thus, the 4 magnates were also competing to see who could enter the Copper Sparrow Pavilion with more people. On the Imperial Dynasty's side was a 9-headed phoenix statue. It looked real and gave off an inviolable aura. I'll go first. It's just a statue. I can destroy it within 10 moves. The group had just arrived in front of the statue when a youth in his 20s stepped forward. His aura was like that of a dragon or a tiger. It was obvious at a glance that he was an existence that could not be underestimated. He had activated his powerful innate talent and martial arts. His ultimate martial Dao had actually reached the Dao domain realm. He punched out, but in the blink of an eye, he had actually punched out 1 billion times. Moreover, when he punched out, he also smiled at Lin Ling. In reality, he was smiling at Tantai Bingdai and Xian Linglong. These 2 were heavenly beauties who had moved the youth's heart for a long time. Now, this punch should be enough to move them. However, the 2 women's expressions were calm. They were unmoved. Even so, the youth comforted himself by thinking that the 2 women had been moved by him. Rumble. The 9-headed phoenix emitted a rumbling sound. Gradually, cracks appeared on its surface. Before the time it took to burn 3 incense sticks was up, it finally shattered. This made the youth almost roar at the sky. This result was not bad. If you were a breath later, you wouldn't even have been able to enter the Copper Sparrow Pavilion. However, Tong Man's tender voice rang out. It directly made the youth's pupils constrict. Then, the corners of his mouth twitched. It was extremely humiliating. Was this just barely passing? After becoming an exceptional talent, he was the most dazzling existence wherever he went. This was the first time he had been so humiliated. Truly useless. At the same time, that Tantai Bingdai walked out. Meanwhile, the statue that shattered previously condensed once more. A crystal divine butterfly appeared behind Tantai Bingdai. It seemed to be a second-grade divine body. Together with her powerful martial arts and cultivation realm, she actually shattered the statue in 2 incense sticks worth of time. Tantai Bingdai, so formidable. That kick from before, I fear not many in the true deity realm can block it. Those exceptional talents all released cries of alarm. Even Luo Riyao and the others nodded inwardly. Tantai Bingdai, this exceptional talent's strength was not bad. She had a high chance of becoming one of Green Province's 9 great heavens. As an exceptional talent, I had to use up 3 incense sticks worth of time to break a trifling statue. Truly shameful. Shame. That Tantai Bingdai walked back. A streak of light surrounded her body from the palace, representing that she could enter the Copper Sparrow Pavilion. Her words undoubtedly made the youth's face turn green and rainbow, so embarrassed that he almost dug a hole to crawl into. He was a glorious emperor-level existence in 10,000 worlds, yet he was actually inferior to a woman. Then, the exceptional talents all took turns to fight. There were roughly 20 exceptional talents in the imperial court. However, from the looks of it, Tantai Bingdai's strength was the strongest. Soon after, it was Lin Ling's turn. At this moment, not only exceptional talents, even Tong Man and the others looked towards Lin Ling. Lin Ling was one of the 3 with the lowest cultivation realm among the exceptional talents. However, he had defeated Zhang Qingyang before, so his strength was not to be underestimated. That was why how many moves would he use? Meng Lu and Xian Lingling also looked at Lin Ling. It was because Lin Ling was from the same batch of geniuses as them, so they were extremely conflicted. They hoped that Lin Ling could succeed, but they also hoped that Lin Ling would fail. If he succeeded, Lin Ling would also help the 3 of them gain some face. If he failed, this meant that Lin Ling wasn't that much stronger than them. As for the other exceptional talents, especially the youth from the very beginning, right now, he looked at Lin Ling with mockery. Previously, he was the one who had lost the most face, so he naturally hoped that someone would be at the bottom. If there was someone who couldn't break through the statue, then that would be a joke. Under everyone's gazes, Lin Ling's expression was calm, not too fast or too slow. When he sensed a mysterious power envelop him, he knew that the statue had already begun to test him. He merged the power of his 3 dantians, but he didn't activate the evil flame transformation. Instead, he relied on his powerful realm essence and the realm-devouring beast's power to form a fist that smashed outwards. This fist's speed was extremely fast, but it was direct and efficient, smashing down on the ancient statue like a hammer. The statue immediately began to tremble, but it still remained steady and unmoving, as if it was sacred and inviolable. At the same time, Lin Ling walked back, making everyone frown slightly. Did Lin Ling fail or succeed? Hong. As soon as this thought appeared, that statue began to crack, and then it exploded. One move. One move. Chapter 2781. The condition to obtain the Azure Thearch's Jade Seal. Lin Ling was only at the 6th level of True God Realm, yet he destroyed the statue with one punch. This was too illogical. How did this guy do it? Tong Man squinted his eyes. Although he had the Destiny God Eye, he couldn't see through Lin Ling at this moment. In fact, Vice Principal Gong and the others were the same. They couldn't see through Lin Ling even when they were on the heaven-surpassing list. Lin Ling's realm didn't seem high, but he was able to release boundary essence that exceeded his realm. It was extremely strange. Most importantly, no matter what method they used, even if they used the Heavenly Eye divine ability, they couldn't see through Lin Ling's mysteries. They could only say that Lin Ling was a monster. They naturally didn't know that Lin Ling's primal chaos divine formula was his greatest secret. Not to mention them, even the Azure the Arch wouldn't be able to see through it. Truly powerful. The other exceptional talents were more or less convinced. When Lin Ling defeated Zhang Qingyang, they thought that Lin Ling relied on unorthodox methods. Now, it seemed that it wasn't just that. Especially the youth who had been waiting to watch a good show. At this moment, he was dejected. All of them were stronger than him. He, an exceptional talent, couldn't even compare to these rising stars. After Lin Ling passed, Xian Linglong and Meng Lu also made their moves. Xian Linglong's result was the worst. When 3 incense sticks time was about to end, she barely destroyed the statue. Meng Lu was slightly better, but his result wasn't dazzling either. After all, their realms were lower than Lin Ling's, so this was normal. Of course, those who wanted to enter the Copper Sparrow Pavilion weren't just exceptional talents. There were also many descendants of ancient factions. However, most of them failed and could only look up at the exceptional talents. In the end, 25 people from the Imperial Court entered the Copper Sparrow Pavilion. Lin Ling, as expected of the most monstrous genius. It's an honor to meet you. You're only at the 6th level of True God Realm. If you reach the peak of True God Realm, your strength will be unimaginable. After entering the Copper Sparrow Pavilion, you have to take care of us. Those exceptional talents all walked towards Lin Ling. Even though they didn't know why Lin Ling was so powerful, everyone had their own secrets. Even they had their own. Therefore, they wouldn't ask why Lin Ling was so strong. Instead, they wanted to make friends with him. This junior martial brother Lin Ling, if we meet at the Copper Sparrow Pavilion, I hope you can take care of me. The young man from before also walked over at this moment. After hesitating for a moment, he said with a bitter smile. You were rejoicing in my misfortune before. Don't you feel ashamed saying this now? Tantai Bingdai glared at the youth and said sarcastically. The young man's face dimmed when he heard this. He smiled awkwardly and left silently. He also felt that his request was a bit too much. It is okay, we are all from the Imperial Dynasty. Since we met, of course, we will take care of each other. However, just as he moved, Lin Ling said with a grin. These words made the young man's body tremble. His eyes became a bit moist. In a world where strength was respected, the weak didn't have any right to speak. Even when the young man ruled everything, he didn't put the weak in his eyes. Now, he was clearly at the bottom. He should have been mocked and looked down on by everyone, but who knew that Lin Ling didn't blame him or mock him? Instead, he treated everyone equally. Thank you. There were thousands of words in his heart, but in the end, he could only say one sentence. Lin Ling waved his hand and smiled. He didn't seem to care too much. All right, these 25 people, prepare to enter the Copper Sparrow Pavilion. Let me say this first. Even though everyone will benefit from finding the Qing Province Imperial Jade Seal, the first person to find the seal will receive a certain amount of the Emperor's fate. This is the same for the magnates he belongs to. Therefore, the 4 magnates will compete with each other. Naturally, there will be no lack of danger. After entering the Copper Sparrow Pavilion, you must be careful. Tong Man said with his hands behind his back. He looked like a child, but he was like a respected senior. Yes, sir. All the exceptional talents said one after another. Then, everyone walked towards the mysterious black hole. Along the way, they noticed that the other 3 magnates had also entered the Copper Sparrow Pavilion. When they looked at each other, battle intent filled the air. The gazes of the Azure Dragon King and the Sovereign Marquis landed on Lin Ling. They thought about the sky-surpassing ranking and then thought about Lin Ling's current status. They realized that Lin Ling's rise was too fast. It was beyond their expectations. If there's a chance, kill him. The Azure Dragon King's mouth moved slightly. He transmitted his voice to an exceptional talent, causing the latter's eyes to turn cold. When everyone was about to enter the black hole, Tong Man looked at everyone and said again. According to the rules from 300,000 years ago, if you want to obtain the Qing Emperor's Imperial Jade Seal, you must go through many trials in the Copper Sparrow Pavilion. Among them, there are the 5 elements of cloud, ghost, god, devil, thunder, wind, and so on. Everyone must be careful. If you can't get it, then retreat. Because even if you can't get it, others can. There's no need to lose your life for the Qing Emperor's Imperial Jade Seal. That's right. If you don't have such a big head, then don't wear such a big hat. If you overestimate yourself, then you will die in the Copper Sparrow Pavilion. The other magnates also spoke one after another. Hearing those words, the expressions of the exceptional talents froze. It seemed like this process wouldn't be easy. Of course, there were some powerful exceptional talents who had confident smiles on their faces. Among them, there were 10 people who were the proudest. They were the 10 strongest among the exceptional talents. Tantai Bingdai, we must represent the imperial court and obtain the Qing Emperor's Imperial Jade Seal. Don't worry, I have absolute confidence. There were also a few top 10 exceptional talents in the imperial court. At this moment, they were all smiling. Tantai Bingdai looked at Lin Ling and said, Junior brother Lin Ling, if there's anything you don't understand, after we enter the Copper Sparrow Pavilion, I will tell you if there's a chance. Thank you. Lin Ling replied with a smile. However, his eyes kept flickering. The trials of the Copper Sparrow Pavilion, the 5 elements of cloud, ghost, god, devil, thunder, wind, and so on. Weren't those the trials he encountered in the cloud's sacred ground? Moreover, the Qing Province Divine Bell and the Qing Emperor's Imperial Jade Seal should be related. This also meant that if Lin Ling reached the Copper Sparrow Pavilion, those trials would be as easy as drinking water to him. After all, he had already experienced those trials in the cloud's sacred ground. Lin Ling, don't underestimate the Copper Sparrow Pavilion. In the historical records, many sovereigns who wanted to obtain the Qing Emperor's Imperial Jade Seal all died in the Copper Sparrow Pavilion. Xian Linglong immediately reminded when she saw Lin Ling's smiling face without any signs of nervousness. At this moment, she was no longer as arrogant towards Lin Ling as before. She knew that this young man's identity was actually above hers. Yes, do everything within your capabilities. The Palace Lord of the White Tiger Divine Palace, by Xiaoyang, also spoke. These famous experts of the Qing province obviously placed great importance on Lin Ling. Thank you, but the Copper Sparrow Pavilion shouldn't be too difficult. Lin Ling's heart felt warm as he replied with a smile. Chapter 2782. Bullying with Numbers. Shameless boasting. Who is this guy? How can a 6th-level true god be so arrogant? He just wants to attract the attention of the big shots. I'm guessing that if he reaches the Copper Sparrow Pavilion, even if he isn't killed, he'll be scared to death. The other magnates said with disdain. They obviously didn't know Lin Ling. Even if they knew him, they wouldn't put him in their eyes. Of course, if Tantai Bingdai and the others hadn't interacted with Lin Ling before and were familiar with Lin Ling's strength, they wouldn't have put Lin Ling in their eyes either. Lin Ling only smiled at everyone's disdain. He was too lazy to explain anything. As for Tong Man and the others, they wanted to retort, but Lin Ling's words were too arrogant. Even they didn't believe him. Then, everyone stepped into the black hole. The ancient black hole was mysterious and vast. After entering, ancient songs rang in everyone's ears. They seemed to be narrating the history of the Green State. This was one of the core areas of the Green State. There were countless warriors in the Green State, but only a few could enter. Every one of them represented the future of the Green State. After a while, the mysterious songs disappeared. Lin Ling stood on a hill and looked into the distance. The sky here was black. Ancient rocks, walls, and stone pillars covered the ground. It was as if this was a corner abandoned by the world. He didn't know if this was a type of void or a type of barrier. However, Lin Ling still found it difficult to move even an inch from where he was. Lin Ling, it's you. At this time, a cry of surprise rang out from afar. Then, a figure shot over with the speed of 3 realms. Lin Ling realized that this person was the young man who was mocked before. He was also from the imperial court. It was obvious that they were in the same boat. Where are the others? Lin Ling asked immediately. I don't know. That black hole seems to have randomly scattered people. Also, I met a mountain-cleaving giant earlier. I heard that this mountain-cleaving giant was the divine guard of the previous Azure Emperor. Because the Azure Emperor was abdicated, he was punished to guard the Copper Sparrow Terrace. It's those giants from the Imperial City, right? They seem to be very strong. Yes, every one of them is an existence that surpasses the true God realm. However, the spiritual energy here seems to be very weak. Hence, those giants are still peak true God realm existences. If it's just one of these giants, it won't be a problem. But if there are too many of them, it will be troublesome. The two of them chatted as they walked. Not long after, in a valley, they discovered a golden light spreading out. When they got closer, they saw that there were many golden stones scattered on the ground. The stones had a rich spiritual qi and were extremely extraordinary. Around those rocks, a woman was also standing there in shock. Emperor Crystals. The man beside Lin Ling was the first to exclaim. Emperor crystals were the crystallization of divine crystals. It was also the Emperor of divine crystals. It was said that it was formed by the suppression of space, the universe, and the void. An Emperor crystal contained 10,000 times more spiritual energy than a divine crystal. However, the man's voice immediately frightened the woman. Her expression changed drastically. Without another word, she immediately rushed out of the valley and tried to fly away. Fian, don't run. It's me, Chen Nandu. Seeing that the other party was like a frightened rabbit, the young man beside Lin Ling immediately shouted. The woman who originally wanted to run stopped. When she saw Lin Ling and Chen Nandu, not only was she not shocked, she even smiled excitedly. Because she was also from the Imperial City. Previously, she thought that she was discovered by the other magnates, so she quickly ran away. Because in a place like the Copper Sparrow Pavilion, if the other magnates met her and killed her, no one would know. No one would step forward for her. Her life depended on the mood of others. Lin Ling, senior brother Nandu. Then, the woman called Fian floated down with a smile on her face. Lin Ling was immediately speechless. This woman was also like a fairy, who knew that she was so timid. Junior brother Lin Ling, these emperor crystals, how about the three of us share them? Fian said again. Lin Ling and Chen Nandu were both from the imperial city, so she knew that they wouldn't harm her. All right. Lin Ling and Chen Nandu immediately nodded and quickly collected them. This copper sparrow pavilion probably hasn't been visited by anyone for 100,000 years. Ordinary divine crystals have been suppressed into emperor crystals here. Most importantly, these emperor crystals probably cover the entire copper sparrow pavilion. If we can collect them, our trip won't be in vain. After collecting them, Lin Ling couldn't help but smile. In the past, the rainforest market was very helpful to him. It could provide him with an endless supply of cultivation resources. However, as he became stronger, that little bit of harvest was no longer enough to fill the gaps between his teeth. Therefore, emperor crystals were what Lin Ling valued most at the moment. Moreover, in order to test the power of the emperor crystals, Lin Ling directly refined a few pieces. Rumble. While the three of them were traveling, Lin Ling successfully broke through and reached the 7th level of the true god realm. Fian and Chen Nandu both stood there dumbfounded. Their jaws almost fell off. Broke through in an instant? What kind of cultivation technique did this junior brother Lin Ling cultivate? It was so heaven-defying. Or did his innate talent have a special effect? It was simply too perverse. In reality, Lin Ling was also shocked. He never thought that the effects of emperor crystals would be so good. The terrifying sword was direct and efficient, actually chopping the ancient dragons into pieces one after another. This simple and crude scene directly left all of the exceptional talents shocked. Even though they already recognized Lin Ling as a true exceptional talent, when Chen Nan and the other exceptional talents saw themselves, weren't they just as terrified? That was why they never expected Lin Ling, this up-and-coming youngster, to be this powerful. Most importantly, it seemed that Lin Ling's attack was very simple. Of course, what shocked them had yet to come. Lin Ling's feet moved, and the 7 realms' speed erupted. This speed was unmatched even among exceptional talents. A sword had already appeared above the head of the exceptional talent who attacked first. Moreover, cold light flickered as it slashed down. I want to see how you're going to break my teeth. That sword was majestic, and it directly made startling Dragon Hua Wuya's lips tremble. This Lin Ling's speed was this fast. Moreover, he broke his full power attack in one move. At this moment, he was a bit alarmed. Don't be afraid of him. He should have used some illusory methods to intimidate you. In reality, he's just strong on the outside. Don't forget, you're an exceptional talent, and he's also an exceptional talent. Moreover, he's just an exceptional talent who just advanced. On the other stone pillars, the other 3 people all spoke coldly. In their eyes, entering the ranks of exceptional talents from the first generation required at least 1,000 years of time. Moreover, this was a peak-level genius. For an exceptional talent like Lin Ling, if he wanted to gain a foothold among the 100 exceptional talents, he would need at least 3,000 years. That was why Lin Ling, to all of these exceptional talents, was a newcomer. Hearing this, startling Dragon Hua Wuya's confidence became quite a bit stronger. He prepared to face Lin Ling's sword head-on. However, he was very unyielding at first, but as Lin Ling's sharp sword heart descended, he became more and more flustered. Senior brother, something doesn't seem right. He released a cry of alarm. Unfortunately, it was too late. That sword strike had directly slashed him into 2, and all of his techniques were useless. One had to understand that in the past, Lin Ling could kill Zhang Qingyang in one move if he used his full power. Now, his cultivation realm had increased again, and his strength had increased by 30%. These exceptional talents were comparable to Zhang Qingyang in strength, so how could they block Lin Ling's sword? After startling dragon Wuxia died, the 3 exceptional talents on the stone pillars were all stupefied, especially the one from Azure Dragon Manor. He continuously shook his head, his expression as if he had seen a ghost. It was because according to Azure Dragon King's instructions, Lin Ling shouldn't be this strong. Qing Xian, is there a mistake in your information? However, he shook his head and said, still too weak. After he finished speaking, he turned around and left. As soon as he turned around, 3 types of energy erupted. The ancient earth seemed to have been overturned. If it was placed in the myriad worlds, it would have been enough to destroy 1,000 realms. Moreover, the 3 types of energy were evenly matched at first. However, when the flame wheel expanded and was about to explode, the other 2 types of energy melted like tofu and disappeared with a loud bang. Rumble. The wheel of flame continued to explode, incinerating everything. Those 2 exceptional talents released sinister cries. They were continuously destroyed, and before they died, they only had one thought, which was to bully others with numbers. This was useless against Lin Ling, because Lin Ling's strength was clearly greater than any other exceptional talents. Moreover, he wasn't just twice as strong. Is this junior brother Lin Ling's full strength? What a powerful attack! Chen Nan and the others looked forward, not saying anything for a long time. Although they also knew that Lin Ling was very strong, only after seeing it with their own eyes did they know how strong he was. Lin Ling's realm essence was too majestic, and it didn't seem like something a true immortal realm expert should have. Then, they saw Lin Ling walk out from the multicolored flames. Are you still in the true immortal realm? Realm essence is endless, and that flame sphere technique is too heaven-defying. Fian was the first to cry out in alarm, and she quickly walked towards Lin Ling, making Lin Ling shake his head. It's not that my technique is heaven-defying, but that they really aren't strong. They still call themselves not strong? Do you know what an exceptional talent is? Any one of them, if placed in 3 Ring City, would be the strongest existence. Chen Nan's voice was sharp, as if he wanted to explain something. Because Lin Ling's reaction was too calm, wasn't it? He actually didn't have any pride? There's always someone better, a mountain higher. Not to mention other things, just Qing provinces and 9 great heavens isn't something we can defeat. That's why defeating an exceptional talent isn't worth making a fuss about nothing. Lin Ling replied helplessly. After defeating Zhang Qingyang, he no longer placed exceptional talents in his eyes, so he didn't understand why these 2 fellows were so excited. Fian and Chen Nan both looked at each other, and in the end, they were completely speechless. If everyone was like Lin Ling, just becoming an exceptional talent, but killing exceptional talents as easy as drinking water, then they really didn't need to cultivate anymore. Fortunately, there weren't many people like this, only Lin Ling alone. Fian, don't speak of what happened before, so as to avoid new problems. Then, Chen Nan said to Fian. Chapter 2785. Fragmentation First Generation. It's the zither and flute duo, Lin Ling. They're not simple. Chen Nandu also secretly reminded him, of the 100 exceptional talents, 40% have actually left Qing province. Although the rest have also left, they have not gone to the other divine prefectures. Therefore, those 40% are stronger than us, and their status is higher. It is said that they have even seen Emperor Qing. Therefore, these exceptional talents are also called shattering exceptional talents. This means that they want to shatter their position as exceptional talents and step into a wider sky. Hearing that, Lin Ling immediately nodded. His face was calm as he said to the 2 people, "This is between me and them. What does it have to do with you? You are sneaking around and peeking. Is this what you call the first generation? Hiding? You think too highly of yourself. I admit that you're strong, but you can't defeat us with that move. However, the Imperial Dragon Court and the Blue Flame Army have nothing to do with us. That's why we're too lazy to help them. Otherwise, do you think you'd still be alive? That's right. The other 3 magnates are fighting each other. Why should we help them? The 2 young men said calmly. If we're fighting each other, then who do you think you are? Lin Ling's voice turned cold. Since the 2 of them didn't want to interfere, they could just stand by and watch. There was no need for them to be so pretentious. We're nothing, but we're the fragmentation first generation that you need to look up to. We also have the supreme status that you've been chasing. Of course, you can be stubborn, but we all know the truth. Now, I won't talk nonsense with you. Tell me, how did you defeat them? Why is your Jia Yuan comparable to the peak of the true immortal realm when you're only a level 7 true god? The young man with the zither said indifferently. Is it a cultivation technique, talent, or even a treasure? Just tell us and we'll leave. The other person said. So this was their purpose for coming here. They were curious about Lin Ling's cultivation method. Of course, they were also greedy. However, it was a taboo for cultivators to ask about cultivation techniques. Not to mention Qing province, even in the 10,000 worlds, it was forbidden. Once it was mentioned, it was equivalent to humiliating someone and looking down on them. You. Therefore, the expressions of Chen Nan and the others immediately turned ugly. Martial artists could be defeated, but no one would speak of their own martial arts. This was equivalent to handing over all their secrets to others, so these 2 people were simply going too far. Most importantly, their faces looked like they were bestowing rewards, which made people feel disgusted. They couldn't help but look at Lin Ling. His opponents were first-generation demolishers, and there were 2 of them. Moreover, they had already witnessed the previous battle, and yet they still dared to humiliate Lin Ling. This showed that they had absolute confidence in themselves. And now, would Lin Ling answer? At this moment, Lin Ling smiled and shook his head as if he was helpless. The 2 scholars thought that Lin Ling had compromised, but the next moment, Lin Ling's pupils changed and became ice cold. The evil flame transformation appeared once more, and he shot forward with the speed of 7 realms. Obviously, Lin Ling was too lazy to explain. He directly started the battle. The 2 people looked at Lin Ling, and their pupils instantly shrank. They didn't expect Lin Ling to be so arrogant and attack without any hesitation. You're courting death. One of them shouted angrily. The other person reacted quickly. His eyebrows moved, and millions of scrolls appeared, blooming with golden light. They were like snakes that surrounded him. At the same time, Lin Ling's sword slashed down and landed on the dragon-like scrolls. Immediately, a crisp sound was heard, and it was shocking. However, this time, the Tyrant Song's sword clearly didn't cut those flowing scrolls. The strength of these 2 first-generation demolishers was indeed not to be underestimated. Do you know that I am the first-generation demolishers that you need to look up to? The young man looked up at Lin Ling and said indifferently. His words were mixed with anger, and it seemed that he was a little angry at Lin Ling for overestimating himself. However, Lin Ling didn't say anything. His right hand let go of the sword, and his body shot to the ground. He punched out. This abnormal attack had undoubtedly shocked everyone. Chen Nan and the others also saw that although Lin Ling had let go of the sword, his sword still maintained the posture of slashing down. It was as if the sword had a spirit. Of course, the young man was the most surprised. This Lin Ling actually had such a method. However, at this moment, a terrifying punch had already arrived. It passed through the flowing scrolls and actually landed on his face, causing a cracking sound to be heard as his nose broke. Then, he was sent flying back like a cannonball. This also showed that although Lin Ling's sword couldn't cut through the scrolls, its power was about the same. That was why the young man couldn't block that punch. However, before the young man could hit the ground, Lin Ling appeared above the young man's head and ruthlessly stomped down. The young man's eyes widened, and he cursed angrily, "You motherfucker, how dare you!" Unfortunately, it was useless. Rumble. Like a giant's foot, Lin Ling directly stomped the young man into the ground. The hard ground exploded with a shockwave. It was terrifying. The first generation of shatterers are not to be looked up at, they are to be stepped on. Boom! Almost at the same time, Lin Ling's voice floated out. All of this seemed to happen slowly, but in fact, it happened in a flash. Chapter 2786. They arrived at the Copper Sparrow Pavilion. Let's try. I didn't use my weapon just now. Do you think you can be so arrogant? Zhua Xiao shouted angrily, but his brother interrupted him again. What happened just now was a misunderstanding. I hope you can let it go on account of the four magnates. What do you think? He actually wanted to shake hands and make peace. This time, Chen Nan and the others were shocked. In their opinion, Lin Ling's attack was too crazy, causing his opponent to be unable to react in time. However, if his opponent used his full strength, Lin Ling shouldn't be a match for him. Big brother. The young man called Zhua Xiao was even more unwilling. However, his brother waved his hand at him and continued to speak to Lin Ling. My name is Zhua Hai. I'm a void-breaking first-generation genius. My realm and talent are the same as the other first-generation geniuses. My strength lies in the Guqin behind me. My Guqin has killed existences beyond the true immortal realm before. After he finished speaking, he immediately activated the Guqin behind him. A terrifying sound of a tsunami rang out. The Guqin gave off a lot of pressure. Zhua Hai used his full strength because he wanted Lin Ling to stop and make peace. Only by using his full strength would he be able to express his sincere apology. Sure enough, Lin Ling frowned. As the saying goes, don't slap a smiling face. Since the other party was so sincere, it wasn't good for him to flare up. Moreover, this caused him to be in a slightly difficult position because he'd originally intended to kill these two people and seize their gains. Seeing that Lin Ling was silent, Zhua Hai waved his right hand and a large number of emperor crystals fell to the ground. These are our gains during this period. They belong to you now. Hearing this, Lin Ling finally nodded. He was a person who became stronger when faced with a strong opponent. Since the other party was being gentle, he naturally couldn't harden his heart and attack. No discord, no concord. Lin Ling, your reputation is not undeserved. I, Zhua Hai, recognize you as a friend. If there's a chance, let's get together. It's better to have one more friend than one more enemy. Zhua Hai seemed to relax when he saw Lin Ling nod. I think so too. Lin Ling smiled. He had a good impression of Zhua Hai. He then looked at Zhua Xiao and said, I have to say, you have a good brother. Good my ass. Just because my big brother let you off doesn't mean I'll let you off. However, how could Zhua Xiao take it lying down? He roared as if he had lost his mind, almost wanting to attack Lin Ling again. Pa! However, as soon as he finished speaking, Zhua Hai leaped over to Zhua Zhao's side and slapped him. Shut up. Big brother. Zhua Xiao didn't dare to lose his temper. Instead, he stroked his cheek as if he had been wronged. He truly couldn't understand why Big Brother was afraid of Lin Ling. After all, if the two of them joined forces and activated the treasure, then they would definitely be able to annihilate Lin Ling. Don't embarrass me. Come with me now. Zhua Hai didn't explain anything and left with his brother. Before he left, he gave Lin Ling an apologetic smile and disappeared into the distance. Is this a dream? They're fragmentation first talents. They're actually afraid of Lin Ling. This isn't a dream. This is real. Could it be that Lin Ling is really hiding something? If that's the case, then he's also a fragmentation first talent, and one that hasn't left the Qing province. Looking at the surroundings that had returned to tranquility, Fian and Chen Nan both felt disbelief. The shock that Lin Ling gave them today was truly wave after wave. Lin Ling looked into the distance and smiled. This Zhua Hai is really cautious. Indeed, Lin Ling still had a trump card, which was his strongest flame wheel. It was the flame wheel in its flame coffin state. If he used it, he was confident that he could kill these two brothers. However, Zhuahai seemed to be very familiar with Lin Ling, so he stopped at the crucial moment. It had to be said that this cautiousness had saved the two brothers. After that, Lin Ling's group of 3 continued forward. This journey was much calmer, and it was difficult to see the figures of the 100 exceptional talents. Thinking about it, these exceptional talents should have reached the Copper Sparrow Terrace. Not long after, under the dusky sky, an ancient pavilion appeared in front of them. Dilapidated walls, ancient stone pillars, mysterious totems, and weak Emperor Qi formed a mysterious ancient diagram. Before they even got close, Lin Ling's group felt a strong pressure. They didn't think that the legendary Copper Sparrow Terrace would actually look like a beacon tower. Legend has it that the Azure Emperor's jade seal appeared in the 3 terraces, namely the Copper Sparrow Terrace, the Golden Tiger Terrace, and the Ice Well Terrace. I didn't think the Copper Sparrow Terrace would look like this. Fian looked forward and said. Lin Ling nodded. Let's speed up. The other exceptional talents should have already entered the Copper Sparrow Terrace. Yeah, we can't slow down. I heard that after entering the Copper Sparrow Terrace, there will be a trial. Tribulation clouds will roll. I hope I can reach the peak of the Sparrow Terrace. Chen Nan also said. If they could obtain the Azure Emperor's jade seal, then they would receive the 3rd prince's reward, and this reward would definitely be very generous. Moreover, it was said that the first person to obtain the Azure Emperor's jade seal would also receive a large amount of Son of Heaven's will. Their chances of becoming the Azure Emperor would greatly increase. Just you? Stop dreaming. I'm afraid you won't even be able to reach the first tribulation cloud. I think junior brother Lin Ling has a chance. However, Fian looked at Chen Nan with disdain. The latter gloomily nodded. Among the 100 exceptional talents, he was indeed a bit weak. The 3 of them increased their pace. The Copper Sparrow Terrace gradually became clearer. Only when they got closer did they discover that this ancient pavilion was even larger than they imagined. Using Lin Ling's words, the Copper Sparrow Terrace was like a pyramid from the previous world. Halt! However, as the 3 of them got closer and closer, a cold shout rang out like a clap of thunder. A few exceptional talents gathered around the Copper Sparrow Terrace in 2s and 3s. Some of them were injured, and some were sitting cross-legged in cultivation. However, their eyes were all fixed on Lin Ling's group. There weren't many of them, only about 30 or so. Moreover, they were divided into a few groups. They should be the exceptional talents of the 4 giants. Meanwhile, Lin Ling's group clearly wanted to enter the Copper Sparrow Terrace. However, since they were new here, they would naturally make things difficult for them. Who are you guys? Why haven't we seen you before? You guys want to enter the Copper Sparrow Terrace, right? However, other than the 4 giants, no one else is allowed to come close. Get lost. Don't think that just because I'm injured, I can't teach you guys a lesson. Those exceptional talents were clearly doing this on purpose. After all, how could 100 exceptional talents not know each other? They already knew that Lin Ling's group was from the Imperial Court. They were only using this as an excuse to make Lin Ling's group leave the Copper Sparrow Terrace and have one less competitor. Of course, quite a few of them were injured. It was clear that they had all been to the Copper Sparrow Terrace, but they were injured by the tribulation clouds. In the end, they could only helplessly leave and rest here. What are you guys doing? The 3 of them are from our Imperial Court. Since the 4 giants were here, there were naturally people from the Imperial Court as well. That was why the exceptional talents of the Imperial Court all spoke out. Who can prove that they are from the Imperial Court? In my opinion, they might be people from the other divine continents who came here to cause trouble. That's right. If they want to prove it, then let them take out the things on them and prove themselves. Chapter 2787. They were asking for humiliation. There were even a few exceptional talents who walked out, looking like they were going to take action. You all dare. On the imperial court side, a woman brought a few exceptional talents over. From her words, they were also planning to take action. Meanwhile, this scene finally made the other giants' exceptional talents restrain themselves. Before, they were only putting on an act, trying to bring some trouble to the imperial court. If they truly took action, both sides would suffer. This wasn't something they wanted to see. Oh, so it's Lin Ling, Chen Nan, Fian. We recognized the wrong people before. Yes. Since they are the imperial court's exceptional talents, then they can enter the Copper Sparrow Terrace. However, be careful of being killed by the tribulation clouds. We already made our way through before. If not for our exceptional abilities, we wouldn't have been able to come out a long time ago. Yes. Let me give you a word of advice. It's better for you all to obediently stay outside. The Copper Sparrow Terrace is the battlefield of the most powerful exceptional talents. Yes. However, even if they didn't plan on stopping them, those exceptional talents still used words to threaten Lin Ling's group, wishing for them to back off. Of course, this type of threat had no effect on Lin Ling. Truly a group of ugly fellows. Yes. The imperial court's exceptional talents all walked towards Lin Ling. Moreover, they all greeted Lin Ling, appearing extremely polite. Lin Ling, you finally came. Yes. Meanwhile, Lin Ling didn't have much of an impression of her. However, he also smiled and asked, Meng Lu, Xian Linglong, Tantai Bingdai, and the others? Yes. They already went in with us. Only, we failed, so we escaped. Meanwhile, they are still advancing. Yes. That woman immediately replied, making Lin Ling sweep his eyes over everyone. Only then did he discover that everyone was more or less injured. It seemed like they were all eliminated. Meanwhile, the exceptional talents around the Copper Sparrow Terrace were probably the same. Even though we failed, we are a bit more familiar with the Copper Sparrow Terrace. We can tell you the rough process. Yes. Moreover, the other giants all have their own experts. Junior brother Lin Ling, you should also be a bit more familiar with them. Let me tell you who the other giants' experts are. The others said one after another. They all had high hopes for Lin Ling and were prepared to tell Lin Ling everything they knew. They wanted Lin Ling to help the imperial dynasty get the seal and win glory. Thank you, but before that, I want to beat up a few people who talk too much. Hearing this, Lin Ling immediately smiled. Then, he moved his feet and walked towards the other giants. Before, these fellows were toying with him, deceiving him, wanting to chase him away. Of course, you all are the same. Meanwhile, Lin Ling looked towards the surrounding exceptional talents. Lin Ling, you really aren't giving us any face. In reality, the other exceptional talents also suffered serious injuries. Of course, they never expected that Lin Ling would use their injuries to crush them. Face isn't given by others, it is thrown away by oneself. Lin Ling calmly replied, and then he began to count off. You only have 3 breaths of time, 1, 2. Just a newcomer, I refuse to believe you can rebel. I, Scarlet Flower Deity Killer, have dominated Green Province, no one has ever been able to make me compromise. Correct, a warrior can be killed, but not humiliated. Those exceptional talents' eyes all turned red from anger, speaking up one after another. However, after Lin Ling's third shout, in the next moment, the expressions of the exceptional talents changed. I was wrong, I shouldn't have lied to you before. I am a person who clearly distinguishes between gratitude and grudges. Wrong is wrong, right is right, it isn't that I fear you. Right now, I will apologize. Even though these exceptional talents were arrogant, they knew that the situation wasn't up to them, so they all began to apologize. On the imperial court's side, everyone was stunned, and then they roared with laughter. Meanwhile, Lin Ling also shook his head, withdrawing his foot and walking towards the imperial court's people. As for the apologetic exceptional talents, they were so embarrassed that they wished they could dig a hole to hide in. They secretly swore that after their injuries recovered, they would return today's humiliation tenfold. This was something Lin Ling also knew. Unfortunately, he also knew that these people wouldn't have any chance to return the favor. Junior brother Lin Ling, you are still the strongest. After Lin Ling walked over, the imperial court's exceptional talents worshipped him even more. To be able to make so many exceptional talents apologize, this wasn't something that just anyone could do. They are just seeking their own humiliation. Let's not talk about this anymore, let's talk about the Copper Sparrow Pavilion. Lin Ling smiled and waved his hand. Then, his gaze landed on the Copper Sparrow Pavilion. Chapter 2788. An easy first level. Not only the 5th level, I'm afraid he has already reached the 6th level. Moreover, the 4 giants all have experts. Our imperial court has Tantai Bingdai. She is ranked 7th among the exceptional talents. Apart from her, the other 3 giants also have experts. Chen Mo, Tian Wuzi, 3 marks Heavenly Monarch, and the 81st Prince. They all want to reach the highest level of the Copper Sparrow Terrace. Among them, the 81st Prince, 3 marks Heavenly Monarch, and Tian Wuzi are the strongest. Lin Ling, apart from Tantai Bingdai, the imperial court only has Miss Lingdan and you. The 3 of you are the hope of the imperial court. You must work hard. The exceptional talents spoke one after another, making Lin Ling nod. He was now a bit more familiar with the Copper Sparrow Terrace. Without further ado, Lin Ling and Fian immediately went on their way. Wait for our good news. Hearing Lin Ling's words, the imperial court's exceptional talents all became confident. If the Azure Emperor's Jade Seal was obtained by the imperial court in the end, that would be a supreme honor. As for the other giants' exceptional talents, they all sneered inwardly. They were waiting for Lin Ling to come out with injuries. I think he will come out after 3 incense sticks of time. 3 incense sticks of time, I think 1 incense stick of time is enough. It definitely won't exceed 2 hours. Those exceptional talents whispered. They didn't think highly of Lin Ling at all. It was to the extent where if Lin Ling came out with serious injuries, they would be able to return the humiliation from before tenfold. Currently, there are about 50 exceptional talents in the Copper Sparrow Terrace. We are the last to arrive, so we have to work harder. Lin Ling's group of 3 increased their pace and arrived at the bottom of the Copper Sparrow Terrace. There was a huge gate there, and at this moment, the gate opened, revealing a dark passage that seemed to lead to another world. Meanwhile, at the 2 sides of the gate, ancient statues stood guard there one after another, as if they were divine guards protecting the previous emperor. However, the passage wasn't as long as they imagined. Soon, Lin Ling's group of 3 arrived at the 1st level. What was surprising was that the 1st level was very beautiful. The sky was filled with the light of fireflies. It was a magnificent sight. Meanwhile, there were about 10 people on this level. They maintained their walking posture and were currently heading towards the end. What a powerful pressure. Chen Nan was the first to speak. There was a mysterious energy in the surroundings that pressed down on everyone like a mountain, making it difficult for them to move. Furthermore, as time passed, the pressure became greater and greater. This meant that if they couldn't reach the passage in a short period of time, it was very likely that they would be suppressed to death by the mysterious force. The pressure is getting stronger. Fian also said solemnly. It's the light of those fireflies. It's a kind of cloud called the Heavenly for Chi cloud. It's said that the 4 seasons in the myriad worlds are transformed from this kind of cloud. Lin Ling said faintly. He didn't feel much pressure because compared to the tribulation clouds of the Cloud Holy Land, these clouds were still a little weaker. Moreover, he could sense that these clouds were a test of soul force and physical strength. These 2 aspects happened to be Lin Ling's strong points. You know quite a lot. Unfortunately, it's useless. Before, There was an exceptional talent who was also putting on an act, but in the end, he died on the first level. That is why the more you know, the faster you die. Hearing Lin Ling's words, the exceptional talents who were still moving forward in the hall all sneered. They also saw Lin Ling, but they didn't care. They thought that Lin Ling and the others were just cannon fodder. Meanwhile, they still moved forward. Their pace was very slow, so much so that sometimes they would only take one step after an hour. It was clear that the difficulty of the first level wasn't small for them. Lin Ling, not good, I can't hold on any longer. After who knew how much time had passed, Chen Nan and Fian's bodies began to tremble. Fian released a weak voice, and then with a put-ong sound, she collapsed. Meanwhile, she who had collapsed was clearly in even more danger. It was because she couldn't advance or retreat. In the end, she could only die in the hall. When they saw this, the other exceptional talents not only didn't sympathize, but instead sneered. Fian. Chen Nan's situation was a bit better, but he couldn't help. You guys leave, don't worry about me. Fian lied on the ground, replying with difficulty. She could become an exceptional talent, so she naturally had abundant experience. She knew that sometimes, if she was destined to fall, then no one could help her. This won't do, I have to bring you out. Chen Nan seemed to be risking his life, trying to bring Fian out of this place. Unfortunately, it was difficult for him to take a single step. The light of the fireflies drifted about in the surroundings, crushing down on his body like a mountain. This made him directly spit out a mouthful of blood. Idiot, you can't even protect yourself, yet you still want to save the beauty. The other exceptional talents immediately shook their heads. Their words were cold and emotionless, mixed with thick mockery. However, Chen Nan didn't pay them any attention, continuing to walk towards Fian. Moreover, he said to Lin Ling ahead, Lin Ling, continue walking, don't worry about us. Fian, I will bring her out of here.